having a bit of problems getting his microphone working. So we'll get started with the other presentations first. So Fasal, if you could start by introducing next problem, and then I'll try and fix Neil's microphone while you're doing that. Also, if you have any problems getting into Teams, then you'll have time afterwards, so don't worry too much about it. It may become a little bit, because we've had people not show up, they may not be perfectly balanced, but just try your best, and if there's 5 in one team or 3 in one team, then that's okay. All right, I'll take it off, Fasal.
Yeah, not sure if I want that screen. Yeah, so
Screen Fasal.
yeah.
Yep.
For some reason, it's just half my screen. Like, can you see the entire screen, or I think it's cut off, right? Yeah, let me just try that again.
Probably good enough.
You probably don't want that. There it is. I think I'll just stick with this. Yeah. So can you see my screen? Yeah. All right. So I hope everyone is like ready and getting into the zone of starting to hack now. So to start off, the first problem statement from Monash Energy Hack. So as we all know, during these COVID times, a lot of students and staff are at most campuses, such as Monash, are studying from home, and lecturers are giving all the presentations from home, and they don't have the need to, or aren't actually supposed to come to universities. So due to this, we've seen that a lot of people are working from home, and we would expect the energy production or the energy supplied to the universities to reduce drastically. But we see that only 15% of the energy has reduced, and this is a major problem because the energy cost of an institution is supposed to be one of the highest. It probably comes after real estate and the amount of money paid to the staff and staff itself. And this is probably going to be the new normal, with companies such as Twitter, Siemens, Slack, and Microsoft, announcing that their employees can work from home permanently. So this means that people or their employees do not need to come to work for more than 50% of the work week. And this brings us to a new way of thinking, because the buildings that were built right now were actually built considering the fact that people would come in at 8 o'clock and leave by 6 p.m. And this is how they try to make it most efficient. But now we need to think of something new, and that's where you come in. So your task is to develop or bring a solution to this problem. You are to develop a solution that addresses the issue of wasted energy in office buildings or Monash University campus when a large proportion of the staff or students are working remotely. So you're supposed to deliver this in a 3-minute pitch, explaining a scalable business model that could potentially be scaled up for other campuses or other buildings. The important thing to keep in mind here is that we don't really want just recommendations or ideas that you give your client saying you should do this or you should do this. We want it to be like a business model or something that can, be scaled up or used for other buildings as well. And that's where, we need you. And yeah, that's it from me.
Yeah. Thanks, Asal. So you'll have your chance to nominate your preference after we finish them. I think we'll do Woodside next. So you'll have to give me a moment to get up their slides. Actually, maybe let's just check my share screen actually is working. No, it doesn't work. All right. For Sal or Linus, could you please share the Woodside slides and I'll read through them? Yeah, so if you could go share this with the Woodside slides, if possible, please. And we'll be taking questions. So if you have any questions for Woodside, then I'll be forwarding them on to Neil Kavanagh, who's the chief scientist at Woodside, and he can answer them. And she's replying pretty quickly, so you should get a pretty rapid response. So let's put them in the Q&A if you have any. You guys have any luck?
Yeah, I've got it here as a PDF. I'll share my screen. It should hopefully be all right.
Thanks. All right.
Is that all right?
Yep. Thank you. All right. Awesome. So Woodside, as you guys know, is either Australia's largest or one of Australia's largest LNG exporters, and they're sort of an energy powerhouse in Australia with a hell of a lot of employees, and definitely something that you should be looking towards, and also playing a big part on Monash with the new Woodside Monash Energy Partnership. So they're really looking into hydrogen as an answer for moving away from fossil fuels and transport and all sorts of things. So if we go scroll down to the next one, please. Great. So this is probably a curve you guys are most familiar with. It's called the duck curve. As we get more renewable power entering the grid through mainly solar, we get this curve where demand drops, but generation really increases. And this can really mean a whole load of problems in terms of grid stability. And as pointed here, so we've got a couple sort of solutions. Neil points out batteries, so large-scale batteries, like the one that you've seen in South Australia, and pumped hydro. So batteries is expensive, and a huge large-scale battery isn't yet really, I guess, possible in the scales that we need it to. And pumped hydro has a huge number of sort of environmental problems and is also extremely expensive. Yeah, so as you see here, so renewable power was, let me see what this is. Yeah, okay, so renewable power is becoming such a huge part of the energy grid that it's setting records in, for example, Western Australia. And we actually saw that South Australia had, I think, all of its power met by solar in the last week, or close to it. So grid stability is really becoming a bit of an issue. So next slide, please. This is where hydrogen comes in. So you've probably heard us bang on about hydrogen with all of our webinars. It's becoming a very favorable alternate supply to fossil fuels, as it can meet the same sort of demand in terms of being useful for vehicles and for industry and manufacturing. But if it's made through renewable energy, then it's completely green. Yeah, Yeah, there you go. So green hydrogen is one of the best long-term sustainable solutions. It can be ramped up, it can be exported, you can make money from it. Sort of a panacea of, I guess, solutions. And then we're assuming here that as scale goes up, we'll start seeing rapid dropping in costs for electrolyzers, the same way that we've sort of seen batteries come down recently. Next slide, please. All right, your task. So we would like, or Woodside would like you to use hydrogen to address some of the grid stability issues that we saw with that duck curve. So these could be things like a centralized system where you have like one giant electrolyzer that produces hydrogen and feeds it into the grid. Or you could use things like decentralized options, which could include things like electric vehicles or small-scale electrolyzers, similar to what we have, sort of like, you know, your fresh water tanks in homes. You could have small-scale electrolyzers sort of feeding back into the grid and providing that energy during the instability times. You need to think about who actually is your customer and who is your end user. Are you selling this to the grid? Are you going to be a energy retailer? Are you selling it directly to the households, or are you supplying it directly to, say, industry to use as a fuel? And also, how are you going to get renewable energy providers on board? Electricity is one of the most expensive parts of creating hydrogen. So any sort of strong relationship that you have with renewable providers could really mean the difference of making this a reality. And then I think the last slide is just a contact slide. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's that. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and I'll forward them on to Neil. Neil Kavanagh will also be your mentor for this one, and you'll get to meet him throughout the day. All right, we'll move on to the Monash Energy Institute slide. So if you could please, Yala's here, nice. Hi, Yala. We'll get there in we're just running 10 minutes behind Yala. Yes, if we could please bring up the Monash Energy Institute slides, and I'll run through those pretty quickly. They're also on the drive. Neil says, make sure the groups think about a pathway to business implementation. So you really got to think about all the stages involved. And not just the technical aspects of it. Think about, you know, the social aspects of it and the economic aspects of it. And think about the role that you want suppliers to play. So that's coming back to energy providers and trying to get them involved, as well as getting customers on board. So you may have to, if you're selling towards households, how are you going to get households to buy your product, or how are you going to get industry to buy your hydrogen? All right. Linus, are you having any luck finding the MEI slides? Or Faisal?
Find them.
Yeah, so I think they're in the drive. You can also find them on the drive that we've sent to all the participants. It should be there as well.
Like that.
Yeah, now Srijan couldn't be here this morning to deliver these slides, but he will be here in the afternoon to do mentoring. So he'd be a great person to talk to, great person to meet. General Manager of the Energy Institute. Secures $40 million partnerships, energy partnerships. So definitely a good person to get on LinkedIn. Here we go. Great, thank you. Thanks, Linus. All right, the Monash Energy Institute. So next slide, please. So the problem. At the moment, most Australian households pay for their electricity using a flat tariff system. I won't go too much into what flat tariffs are. I think it's something that you should probably do research on if you choose to do this problem. The other option is to go on a flexible pricing system. Research shows that if only 10% of Australian households switch to this flexible pricing system, residents could actually save $250 million per year by 2030. And in order for us to get to these flexible tariffs, we need to have a lot of data available on how each household is using energy, how much they're creating, and how much they're using. So in order for this to happen, we need smart meters in all households, or probably the vast majority of households, in order for flexible tariffs to become the industry standard. Next slide, please. Okay, so why do we need flexible pricing and rather flat tariffs? So as you probably guys know, the energy market is changing quite rapidly over the last sort of decade. We're having huge rooftop solar come in, which is disrupting the, I guess, predictable amount of demand that households have. So when the sun's shining, and if you have rooftop solar, your demand will go down because you're generating your own electricity. But also, as we get we get these renewable energy systems like wind and solar on board, due to their nature, generation is also going to be variable. So going to be having more or less energy being provided to the households. And this just means that when there's more energy in the market, you should be paying less. And when there's less energy, you should be paying more. And this is why a flexible tariff makes a little bit more sense than using just a flat rate. Next slide, please. So the solution, what's your job? So you need to develop a business model to drive the voluntary uptake of smart meters in Australian households. And we emphasize voluntary because there are at the moment initiatives in place by the government where if you build a new house, you have to include a smart meter. But houses can be 90, 60, 50 years old in some cases. So we need a way to make it attractive to households to voluntarily give up their old crappy meters in favor of these smart meters. So your job is to figure out how do we sell smart meters to households so that we can then change the industry standard from a flat tariff system to a flexible pricing system. I think I got one more slide. Considerations. So think about who your customer is. Are you selling this directly to the households? Are you selling it to energy retailers? Or are you selling it to the government? You might have to figure out what the sort of high-level laws are around here. When you're dealing with electricity and you're dealing with households, the government might have a lot of litigation around who can actually touch your smart meter and who's allowed to sell it to you. So you might have to figure out who your customer is and then how you're going to adapt your problem pitch for that customer. And then also, what's the scale of your solution? So we're looking at 10% by 2030. Is that what you're aiming for? Or are you wanting to go higher? Are you going to go, are you thinking more long-term or are you thinking more short-term? Maybe you're only going for 5% in the next 5 years. So make sure that you outline those sorts of things in your pitch. And that's it. The last one we have is Vestas. And so Vestas actually gave us a link to a YouTube video. So I'll just post the YouTube link real quickly. Can't find it. It's also on the drive, the video and the PDF explaining the video. So instead of me sharing my screen, which is a little bit laggy, I will send you guys the YouTube video directly. If I can find it. Or maybe I should just send you the guys the my computer does not like having so many things open at once. All right. I'm now copying the link into the chat. And you can find the PDF that explains the video on the drive. So Vestas is really looking for quite a large-scale solution. They have this problem of grid instability with new new wind farms coming on board, and they're looking for ways and your, I guess, ideas of how to curtail that problem. It's quite a large-scale solution, so don't try and answer just the entire thing because you won't have time. So try and come up with, with just a pitch of what you would hypothetically do, and then maybe talk about what else you need to research or what your limitations are for really putting this into action. So I'll give everyone, I think, only 3 minutes just to watch that, and then we'll move on. And I think we're going to hear from the generator after this. Oh, Yala, you're here quite early. Well, if you're here, then we may as well hear from you, and then we'll go to the pitch selections. So I'll give you a couple minutes. For Woodside, and I'm still happy to ask Neil them. So any clarifications on the pitch or on the problem, feel free to post them in the Q&A, and I'll let Neil know. All right, I think everyone should have had time to watch that. I think it's only 2 minutes long. Once again, if you've got any questions to clarify, I can get in contact with Michael Perkins, who's the mentor, and get anything clarified, if that helps you come up with your decision of who you want to, or what problem you want to do. All right, Yala, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Great, it's great to hear that your sound and video is working. Had a bit of couple of problems, but nothing's ever going to go smoothly when you're, yeah. It's 2020.
The new normal.
Yeah, this is a new normal. Bugs and errors. Are you prepared to introduce the generator?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any way that we can actually see if people raise their hands if they've heard about the generator before?
No, but we can have it in the chat.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Actually, I can see some hands.
Oh, Simone's in here as well. Hi, Simone.
So cool. Okay. So if you haven't heard about the generator so far in your journey at Monash, basically we exist entirely to support entrepreneurship for Monash students, staff, and alumni, which is just the coolest thing if you think about it. That's literally what our jobs are. And how that kind of looks is we might engage with someone who doesn't even have an idea yet, but they know that they want to kind of work in the entrepreneurship space, all the way out to people who are spinning out companies from research and raising investment. So we work with all kinds of people with amazing ideas and amazing companies. And the way that we do that is mostly through our programs. And we also offer office hours appointments. So anyone who is affiliated with Monash University can make an appointment with us, and we can kind of talk through any challenges you're having with your company or an idea that you might have, and how you might progress to next steps. So that's one of the ways that you can engage with us. We also run a bunch of events and workshops through the year, mostly in semester 1. Because we're a little bit lighter in the program side of things in semester 1. And our programs, we have 4 programs that we run every year. The Validator is the early stage program. So that's a 4-week program where you basically go from an idea to really finding out whether it has legs. So we do a lot of work around customer interviews and just finding out what your kind of launch to market might look like through that data. So that's actually my favorite program, because it's really where you get to understand your customer and find out if there really is a product there. This year, we doubled our attendance to the Validator by transitioning online, which is super cool. We had some people engage with us from Monash Malaysia who did the program. So this new online environment has actually been really great for us. The next program that we have is called Startup Sprint. So that's kind of a little bit later stage. So basically you've kind of gone through that validation process. You might have done 100+ customer interviews, and there's something there, and you're kind of at those first steps of getting moving on a product or service. That's a 5-week program. We bring in an entrepreneur from in residence for that program as well. We do weekly masterclasses, and we communicate on Slack. So there's kind of a living, breathing community on Slack with the generator. And our final program is the Accelerator. So that's our major program of the year. We're currently in week 7 of 8 in the Accelerator, so things are really ramping up for our teams. I'll actually just send a link where you can find out more about our teams and what they're working on. So in the Accelerator, you get $10,000 seed funding. It's a pretty competitive program. This year we had over 130 applications and 10 teams got in. And yeah, it's a super amazing program. Lots of experts we bring in for different masterclasses, and we do fireside conversations and really accelerate companies to the next stage. We also have a program specifically for researchers at Monash called Researcher to Innovator. This year we had 200 participants, which is the largest we've ever had. So it's all happening at the generator. I'd love to actually just share. I'm going to go to the chat. So these are our teams. Oh my God, Simone's here. This is so cool. So these are our accelerator teams at the moment. Simone is actually an excellent example of, going through the validation program and really making something, come true. So Simone, hi. I will also send you a story that's just come out of the Accelerator, which is really exciting. So one of our teams, Pori, started with the Validator program at the beginning of the year. They found out that there was, a real problem to solve. They made some traction, got into Startup Sprint. and they're now in the accelerator program and have made some really, really exciting things happen. So you can read the story about Pori in that link there. And I'll also just send you the link to where you can reach out to us and book an office hours appointment. So yeah, we do that 3 days a week within the team. It's a really great way to kind of start a conversation with us. That's kind of it for me. If anyone has a question, pop it up in the chat while I'm here. But feel free to follow us on socials and sign up to our newsletter, keep in the loop. And yeah, that's us.
Thank you, Yala. Thank you very much.
No worries.
I wasn't aware that. So Simone went through the and here's Simone. Did Simone go through the generator? Did you?
I did.
Ah,
I tell everyone, you must do the validator program. I even try to push people into it. And they're like, but I don't have time. I'm like, no, you'll be fine. It's really
worth it.
Program.
Worth it.
I've also just been told that the booklet that's on the drive is not the most updated one. Has a couple of mentors missing. So I'm just about to update that now, and you'll be able to see who your mentors will be. All right, well, Simone, are you happy to now introduce Borrow Cup and the Monash Recovery Challenge?
Yeah, and Jala, I'm really happy you're here, and we'll think about this afterwards. How do I share my screen, Alex, on this platform? Can I do that?
Yeah, you can. It's been a little bit problem for me. There's a share screen button next to the mic on, and I think can you see that?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, this is cool. Okay. Wow. Oh, you're so good. Okay. Can people see my screen?
Yes. Thank God. It wasn't working for me.
Okay, it was working for me. Sorry, Alex. Just, I'm joking. Okay, so hi, everyone. I wish I could see your faces, but that's not happening. It'd be really cool if you could post in the chat if you have used a Borrow Cup before. You can just say yes or raise your hand or say, I've tried it, whatever you want. It'd just be great to just say who's here and how much I need to explain or not. So thanks, everyone. And Julie, if you're here, saw you on the participant list, hello. Julie ran an awesome Sustainability Week last week. So, and this is off the back of that as well. So I want to say hi to her. Okay, so I want to start. Why am I here? Who am I? So thanks, everyone, for saying yes. Okay, this is cool. Who hasn't used Borrow Cup? Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so I started Borrow Cup probably 3 years ago now, went through the validator program, and very quickly it went from me to a team. I can't do anything by myself, definitely need people to help me, and so it's awesome to see all of you here ready to work in teams to solve problems. So I want to tell you about Borrow Cup's new project, which is called the Monash Recovery Challenge, and it'll make sense in a second as to what's the link with this hackathon and why is Borrow Cup doing this. So what is the vision for the Monash Recovery Challenge? We are aiming to turn the campus into a living laboratory for a green recovery. And we want that green recovery to be led by students and enabled by the university. And I'll talk to you about what we mean by that. Okay, so why Borrow Cup? Why are we doing this? 3 reasons. We have the playbook and networks. I'll tell you what I mean by that. We have the credibility and resources, and we have a responsibility. What do I mean by the playbook and networks? So while we've launched a alternative to disposable coffee cups through this free reusable system, the way that we've done that, the only reason we've been successful is because heaps and heaps of people, including the validator and the generator, have supported us and helped us to solve issues we were having with the system. What I mean by that is we have mentors from Behavior Works, which is a research institute at Monash about behavior change. We have mentors from Econometrics helping us to think about how do we collect our data to get insights about our users or our environmental impact. We have mentors from environmental engineering to create a model to assess our true environmental impact. So we want other people to have access to these networks that we've created. The Borrow Cup, the disposable coffee cup problem is going to be solved, but now what about these awesome networks that we've created? We want to give them to you. Second, we have the credibility and resources. Because Borough Cup is so visible, a lot of people know about us, and we have credibility now with senior leaders at the university, and we want to leverage that credibility to help more projects like Borough Cup happen on the campus. We have a responsibility. Our vision is to make the campus more sustainable, and we can't do that right now in our normal way. So we have a responsibility to find another way to do that. Okay, awesome. So what's the problem that we're solving? For me, I feel, and other students I talk to feel overwhelmed about the pandemic and the climate crisis, and maybe you can relate. And we want to contribute to a more sustainable world, but it's really hard to know where to start sometimes. The university has professional and academic staff who have the knowledge and data to define local sustainability challenges on the campus, but they don't have time to solve them. So the Monash Recovery Challenge is a platform that connects those groups. We're connecting Monash staff who have the knowledge and data to define local sustainability challenges, just like the Monash Energy Challenge that you would have heard about this morning, with passionate interdisciplinary teams of students like yourselves who want to contribute to green recovery of the campus and hopefully then the world. So how does it work? 3 steps. Those staff at Monash, like the Monash Energy Challenge, will submit the challenge and also data to support that challenge. So for example, energy data of all the different buildings, so we can understand how much energy each one of those buildings are using and the trends and, if it's efficient, if it's wasteful, etc. Solutions. Students like yourself will view the challenge board. You'll see that energy challenge on the board, and you'll submit an early stage solution. It doesn't matter, any idea, submit, right? That's not your final solution. It's just kind of submitting to get into the recovery community. You then are invited to join the Monash Recovery community on Slack, and then we support you. When I say we support you, we connect you with the right people and programs. If we think the validator is right for you, we'll tell you to go there. If you need someone, an expert in behavior change, we'll connect you with someone that we know. And the really exciting part, and this is our secret sauce, is that we're working with all the Associate Deans of Education from Science, Arts, Business, Engineering, Design, and IT to get students to get credit to solve one of these problems. If these solutions and these teams are going to be truly diverse and accessible and inclusive, we need to get students to be able to have credit so everyone can participate. Some people don't have time outside of their degree to participate, and we want to give them access. And even people who do, you've got to cap, like, not everyone has an extra, 20 hours in the week to work on something on the side. So what if you could have that embedded in your degree and get credit for it? We've had 10 interns to date in Borough Cup, and it really works. Okay, some of our attractions, we're partnering with the Energy Club today, super excited. We want you to start working on this energy challenge here at the Monash one, and if you're excited about it and you want to keep working on it, join the Monash Recovery Challenge community, and you can keep working on it afterwards, and we'll support you. So that's this is our ask. Please join our community. You can just sign up anyway to join our community without solving the challenge. Head to the Borough Cup website. I'll chuck it in the group. Sorry, give me 1 second. And sign up to join our mailing list at least. And then if you want to submit a solution later on, you can do that too. And that's it, Alex. Sorry, I feel like I went over time. And if anyone wants to contact me, if you have ideas, we're developing this now. So really want to hear your feedback, your thoughts. Happy for all people to be involved. You can call me, text me, email me, whatever works. Alex, that's it. I don't know if your face is going to pop up on the screen. If anyone has, yeah, I'm done. Thanks for having me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so so Borough Cup's helping the Monash Energy Club's problem pitch, and I think it would be really useful and a really great platform to enable some of the problems that you'll be dissecting today and getting in touch with the right person. So this is, I think, this is Monash specific, Monash campus specific, correct?
Yeah, we're really trying to focus on this local green recovery. We think that there's opportunity. A lot of the problems that we have on Monash campus will be problems globally as well. But if we focus on piloting them locally, if they work, you could scale them outside of the campus. But that's the Borough Cup model. All
right, brilliant. So if you choose to do the Monash Energy Club problem pitch, there is perhaps some support that you'll be able to get even after the event. So this is a bit one of those long-term things that you can even get credit for, which is absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. That's amazing.
Alex, we're excited to be partnering with the Energy Club. This is only going to work if people like us partner. So that's really exciting, and thank you for facilitating that.
Cheers. All right. Well, thank you, Simone. Thank you very much. All right. Well, that's the end of the presentations. What we're going to be doing now is we'll be going back to the floor and giving you guys a chance to have any problems there, Simone?
Yeah, how do I exit?
I don't actually know.
I think you have quit event
You
altogether.
just need to switch off your camera and your mic, and you probably won't be on the top. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, what I was saying, so we now go back to the floor and try and finalize your teams, and then on the Google Drive, there's an Excel spreadsheet just called preference selections or something. Come up with a name for your team, and then put your preferences in order of 1 to 4. We were going to have two teams per problem. That's probably going to now be 2 teams per problem. Sorry. 2 teams per problem with 1 problem only receiving 1 team, just because we've got 27 rather than 32. Also, in regard to the, sorry, I'm getting a whole bunch of, I'm sorry, the sponsor preferences. I've got the wrong sharing thingamabob. So you have to, I'll make that public, and then you'll be able to, then you'll be able to join. Yeah, I think that's it. Really, it. My only other thing is, in terms of the solution format, any questions I'm happy to answer now, or any questions about the competition altogether, I'm happy to answer now. So if you put them in the Q&A, then I'm happy to answer them. In terms of the brainstorming session, I just want to emphasize that it's really about quantity, not quality, and there's no room for judgment. So when Linus was talking about that no idea is too ridiculous, he meant that. How this really should work is you go to your tables, and there's a option for a whiteboard. You can start a whiteboard, and you can, I think, place sort of virtual post-it notes on there. And every time someone places a post-it note, don't critique it and say it's a bad idea or a good idea. Just build upon it. Be like, okay, this is an idea. This is a spark. And how can we grow this spark into an actual idea? Nikhil, the sponsors are on the booklet. Everything you need to know is in the booklet. The point of contact. So the MEC team will be floating around, I think, all day. And we'll get in touch with you about the times for mentoring once we know what team is doing what. You can also email admin@monashenergy.org for any email inquiries, but we should be floating around, and you can just direct message us either on Remo or through our email. Yeah, so I think that's really it from me. I'll give it just a couple more minutes to see if any more questions come through. Otherwise, we'll get started, and you guys can form your teams, pick your solutions, and then start brainstorming. And I will make the preference selection public.
Yeah. Also, I think if we stop this, like when they go into chats, they could chat with any of us. Like they could just send us a chat if they have any questions. Yeah, it could be a private chat as well.
Yeah, or you can join our table. You can come in and join our table and find us.
Yeah.
We'll probably be hanging around one table, just waiting for you guys to come in, but we might pop around and just check that you're all doing okay. Now let me just figure out how to make this public, because it should be public. All right, must have been the wrong link. Oh no, I had it as viewer. That's why. All right. That'll take you to the Google Doc or Google Sheets. I mean, how do we know our team number? Just come up with a name, and first come, first serve. Just put yourself down. There's no real team numbers, just a team name. Yeah. So there is a maximum of 2 teams as well per sponsor. So unfortunately, some of you may not get your first preference, but that's That's how it always works, isn't it? Great, so I've seen that Energy Star has already put theirs down. Good job. All right. Well, I think that's it then. No more questions. But if you do have any more questions, then just find us, email us, or message us. Good luck, everybody, and yeah, have fun.
Also, like, could they put their names with the, with their
Yeah, good idea.
name? Because we just want to know who all have formed the team or not.
Good idea. So if you could put any team members' names as well in that Google Sheets, that'd be useful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right. Have fun, everybody. We'll be in touch to tell you your mentor times. Any theme for team names? Oh, no, not really. I mean, energy. It doesn't have to be, though. It can be whatever you want. Just have fun. All right. Well, we will see you guys very soon, and we'll be jumping around to see how you guys are going. Now let's see how I end present off.